The audience held their breath, certain they were about to witness failure. Then Ren spotted it. A single, small orifice, barely visible among the rocky plates. He didn't hesitate. The short spear found its target with surgical precision, plunging deep into the creature's cloaca and straight up. The Stone Lurker tensed once, then went completely still in the next instant. Death came swiftly and silently, catching everyone by surprise. Silence fell over the training field. The entire encounter had ended in mere seconds, leaving spectators struggling to process what they'd just witnessed. Well, Yang broke the silence, a barely contained smile playing at his lips. That was efficient. Lin approached to examine the fallen Stone Lurker. A direct strike to the brain through the cloaca. Impressive knowledge of their anatomy. The previous laughter had transformed into surprised whispers. Jin particularly looked like he'd swallowed something extremely unpleasant, his tiger markings dulling with his dampened mood. The fastest victory so far, Yang declared, as assistants removed the body. And with minimal energy expenditure. Excellent teamwork. Taro and Min grinned while coiling their rope, their beasts manifesting proudly despite their supposedly weak status. An unorthodox approach, Lin commented, but perfectly executed. Sometimes knowledge truly is worth more than brute force. Next team, Yang called, though eyes remained fixed on the team that had just redefined expectations. Several more teams faced the challenge. The mushrooms in Ren's hair pulsed as he observed each attempt, some more successful than others. "We can do it like the fungus team," one student declared confidently, holding a rope while his companions nodded eagerly. "If he could do it, so can we." They even took 2 ropes, and their leader corrected the weak rotting boy's mistake by taking a long spear instead of a short one. But the Stone Lurker refused to cooperate with their plan. The ropes worked initially, flipping the creature, but then, "Stab it! I'm trying!" The spear bounced off the monster's rock skin, missing the tiny orifice completely. A second attempt proved equally fruitless. By the third try, the Stone Lurker had managed to break free, forcing Yang to intervene before someone got hurt. It's not just about copying ideas, Ren thought as the team retreated in shame, without understanding why certain things are done. Finally, it was Luna's team's turn. 2 girls accompanied her, students from noble families who had clearly requested to be her partners. They attempted to engage in conversation while selecting weapons, but Luna barely acknowledged them with brief nods. "We should coordinate a strategy," one suggested, adjusting her weapon with nervous movements. "It won't be necessary," was Luna's only response, her shadow wolf rippling beneath her skin. The mushrooms in Ren's hair pulsed with anticipation. Luna's shadow wolf was different from other beasts. It possessed immense initial power and had started on the true evolution path from the beginning. The Stone Lurker was released, immediately seeking camouflage. Luna's companions assumed combat positions, but she simply extended her hand, her wolf's influence darkening the air around her. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then Ren saw it. The monster's shadow began moving unnaturally. The wolf emerged from it like spilled ink rising upward, its eyes glowing with spectral radiance. The Stone Lurker had no time to react. Shadows slipped between the cracks of its mineral armor like black water. A moment of absolute stillness, and then small explosions of blood erupted from every crack in the monster's armor. The wolf returned to Luna's shadow as silently as it had appeared, while the Stone Lurker collapsed, destroyed from within. The silence that followed was different from the one that had followed Ren's victory. There was no surprise or admiration, only cold respect mixed with fear. Efficient was all Yang said as assistants removed the shattered body. Luna's companions looked at her with both pride and nervousness, as if unsure whether to celebrate or maintain their distance. "That shadow wolf," Ren observed as Luna returned to her place, as silent as her beast. The mushrooms in his hair pulsed, but for the first time, the knowledge flowing through them seemed incomplete, as if aspects of the shadow wolf lay beyond his current understanding. Yang called the next team, but many students kept glancing at Luna, wondering what other secrets their silent classmate concealed. After today's classes, in Professor Song's canceled session, they would finally venture outside for the first time. "Welcome to your first gathering expedition," Professor Song announced as students gathered in the main courtyard. "Before we begin, let me introduce Professor Zhao, who will lead the 5th and final teaching unit." A middle-aged man with owl markings on his arms stepped forward. Though his expression was kind, his eyes, sharpened by his beast, studied each student with clinical attention. "Exterior gathering exercises are crucial," Zhao began while assistants distributed equipment packages. "Here, you'll learn to survive outside safe zones, identify valuable resources, and most importantly, recognize when to retreat." The mushrooms in Ren's hair pulsed as he examined his package. Ropes, tools, special containers, emergency rations. "Normally, we would spend 3 days in the Iron Ring," Zhao continued, his gaze briefly resting on Ren. "However, this year, we'll make some adjustments. The expedition will last 2.5 days. Murmurs immediately broke out among the students. "Why less time?" one asked. 3 days every 2 months is tradition," another complained. Zhao raised a hand to silence the protests. "As some of you may know, we have a student whose beast has particular limitations with prolonged exposure to high mana concentration zones." All eyes turned to Ren. The mushrooms in his hair pulsed weakly, as if confirming the professor's words.
Wait, that's not the end. You've just had a free taste. Now get the full story on the Pocket FM app, link in description. Check out our next video and playlist, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.